or the question is, if a sponsor outsources their work to a CRO, which they're allowed to do, would they be exempt from FDA oversight? The answer is absolutely not. In the 2016 GCP revisions, that changed it. So prior to the 2016 GCP revisions, the sponsors could use that argument. It didn't always work, but they can use it. So to add some clarification, the FDA came out with the GCP revisions in 2016. It said a lot of things in there, but one of the things it said pertaining to this issue was that sponsors, no matter who they outsource the study to, they are responsible for the conduct of the study across all sites. Just like the PI is responsible for the conduct of the study at his or her site, regardless of who they delegate on site to do duties, the PI is responsible for their site, and the sponsor is responsible for the entire study. So that is very important, very important. And that is why a lot of the sponsors, after that change, are starting to do more of the CRO work themselves, right? Because they're thinking, well, if we've got all this responsibility, why are we still outsourcing? Now, there's still tons of CROs out there getting most of the market share, but we're starting to see more sponsors getting involved, and that's going to have long-term ramifications for these CROs. They absolutely will. They must maintain oversight. They must look at every monitoring report that comes through from the monitoring visits. They must actually be aware of who the monitors are by approving each one's CV. Alright, so it's not just a matter of the CRO assigning the CRAs. The sponsor is supposed to approve all these things because they're the ones who are supposed to oversee the study. And so all these monitoring reports now, they have to get reviewed by sponsors. And this paves the way for electronic trial master file systems, right? Where these documents can be uploaded and then accessed by the sponsors, as opposed to just emailing everything back and forth. So it's opening opportunities for a lot of technology vendors in this space. You have no control over what the site actually does. Like if the site said that they're going to enroll 10 patients and they're not enrolling any, I mean, you can document as a CRA that you're encouraging them to recruit, you're suggesting different things they can do as far as improving their recruitment strategies, but it's not like that's held against you by your employer. Same thing if a site's not answering queries. I mean, you can issue queries, you can issue action items, but if the site is not responding and you're documenting that you're having discussions with the PI every single monitoring visit, and you have emails showing or documenting that you're following up with them, and they're still not getting anything done, I mean, that's not your fault as a CRA. So just document everything. Now, if you don't document those things, but you just tell the sponsor or your lead CRA, no, I've been telling them that, but you don't document it, well, then it's the same as you didn't do it. So everything has to be documented in this industry. I mean, and then we're not even talking about particular therapeutic indications. Like, if you want to really go down a rabbit hole, let's talk about oncology and the difference between oncology and like a schizophrenia study. Okay, I mean, the medications are totally different. The way they act on different body systems completely different. The side effects are all different. The terminologies are different. The assessments they use to measure the progress and the safety of side effects totally different. Like, you need like subspecialty expertise. Not just any CRA could be an oncology CRA. You have to know basic oncology terminology, which is not basic at all when there's thousands of options. right? And then that oncology CRA is not necessarily going to make a good CNS, central nervous system CRA. I mean, totally different rating scales, like totally different assessments. The process is the same, but the language is almost different for every particular medical indication. Yeah, it's a lot. There's a lot. You'll never master everything in this space ever, but there's so much opportunity too, because then you get into this thing where everyone specializes in something else. But then new things open up where nobody has expertise, and then the cycle just keeps repeating because there's turnover and there's always going to be a shortage because people specialize in different things, and then those things are cyclical. So there's always ebbs and flows with the supply and demand. Yeah, that's really good. Like once you're in the industry, you are in, and it's up to you to become more of a generalist as opposed to a specialist. I mean, you will start out most likely as a specialist, just doing a few functions. But your job, everyone's responsibility, I think, if they want to grow and keep their careers safe, is to become more of a generalist and expand and master new things and build on top of the old things. Like if all I did was CNS my whole life, well, I'm susceptible to when that market takes a hit. But if I master CNS and then I can master oncology and then I can master general medicine, I'm diverse, right? And same thing with like people who just focus on regulatory and they don't have any experience with source documentation, or they don't have any experience with query resolution or deviations. Like all they do is regulatory. I mean, they're in trouble when algorithms replace them, and the only jobs that are out there, not saying that will happen, but the only jobs that are out there are not related to regulatory. Like what are they going to do if that's all they did was specialize? So everyone's responsibility, personal responsibility, is to generalize their knowledge and their understanding in research. It's hard to see the forest from the trees when you're just doing one task or a couple tasks, and you can easily get stuck in that. And not that it's bad, because you need to start somewhere. But then, and by the way, no one's going to tell you to generalize and to learn more. Like, let's say you're hired as a trial master file specialist, and all you're doing is filing regulatory documents in different folders, right? Nobody's going to tell you to learn about different aspects of research. No one. As long as you do your job, no one, but it's up to you to go out of your way to do more and to build your skills, because you don't want to be too dependent on just one particular specialization. You don't want to put yourself in a corner. So, I mean, there's high value add skills in regulatory and source and EDC and learning all these pathways and learning how to monitor, how to write reports. Like those are all high value add. I've been doing this for 13 years, going on 14 now, and yeah, like there literally are things I learn every week, like new things. And oh, by the way, like things change too. Like regulations change. Different kinds of therapeutics come out that changes. So everything, you will never master it all. Even if you did, it's gonna change, and then you're behind again. Remain current. That's why CRAs that go out for they've worked for years, and then they have a gap of 5 years on their CV because they were raising kids or whatever. Like they have a harder time coming back because regulations changed, systems changed, the way that you do your job as a monitor evolves over time, and it's up to you to remain current. Join your ACRP, SOCRA, stay current, stay relevant, put that on your CV. So maybe you took some years off, but you're still involved as part of ACRP, part of SOCRA. So they're seeing that you're at least keeping up with what's going on. I mean, do anything you can to improve your chances of staying relevant, because this is This is a tough position.